Good morning, guys. Yesterday I did this 3D printed rubber band powered car. When I say 3D printed, that bit is a bit of wooden dowel, but the rest of it, all the yellow stuff, is 3D printed. A couple of CDs for the back wheels and bicycle spokes or 2mm steel rods for the axles, and all the yellow stuff 3D printed. Found a minor problem with it, that the wooden dowel wasn't entirely straight. So depending on which way you twisted it, it could either go left, right or straight. If you arranged for the bow in it to be that way, top to bottom, then it'd go straight, but if you had it curve in that way, it'd go left, or curve in that way, it'd go right. It's not much of a curve. In fact, I don't know if the camera will even pick it up. I'm trying to look along the length of it. No, I don't think the camera will see it. Especially not when the camera lens tends to distort things anyway. Anyway, I did mention that I had plans for it anyway, that I was going to do something else to it. So this was going to be version 1. And I also said I thought I had some carbon fibre tube somewhere. And I did. So I've reprinted the axle tubes, I suppose I could call them. One reason I had to reprint them was that rod is thicker than that rod. This is 6mm, I think. So I had to make the holes smaller. And as usual, I've made them smaller, but in the printing there's a bit of deformation or rubbish in there, one way or the other, and it's too tight to go in there anyway. I could jam it in there, but I will drill it out. The carbon fibre tube comes from one of my old kites that was broken, and it's actually split in several places, so I've cut out the good bits and thrown away the split bits. So that's our new chassis rail tube. Need to drill that one out to make it fit. Then another thing that I've done is on the ends here, the PLA or the moulding is so thin that it's actually breaking apart, and I'd already had an idea that I would try a different way of fitting the axle. Rather than it going through the tubes, this time I've made little sort of keyhole slots, so we can just clip the axle straight in. So I'm going to break this one out if I can. Yeah, and so that should fit in there. Now, as usual, I made it to be an interference fit, but in the printing, the PLA does, well, it doesn't do exactly what it should. So you'll see in some places that's a nice tight clip. There we go. In other places it's quite loose, but that won't matter because it's going to be that way up. So it's not going to drop out because the weight will be on it. I could put another piece over it just to make sure it doesn't drop out, but that looks fine. I've also made that distance a little bit bigger so that if we need to, we can put the thicker adapter on there. So I'll just drill out the other end and fit it on there. Now that we've built it, I can tell you the purpose. So I was talking about putting different sized axles on the back for extra leverage. We want to try and go up a slope. Now ideally we want to go up a 1-in-3 slope. I haven't measured what that is at the moment, and in fact I don't have any way of measuring it exactly. I suppose I could draw something on the screen afterwards to give us a 1-in-3, but that's certainly not 1-in-3 at the moment. That's well, it's not a 3 meter length, because I didn't have a 3 meter length. That's about 2.8 or something, so it's a bit short, and it's certainly not up. To be a 1 in 3, it'd be 3 meters along and 1 meter up at this end, and that's certainly not a meter up at this end at the moment. But I'll just give it a try and see if it goes straight enough to go up there. That's a very old ramp. I built it when I did the original request for a 1 in 3, and it's been stored in the garage and it's a bit bowed. So enough excuses. Let's just see if this has any chance of going up that much slope. I'll leave the camera running and I'll go over there and give it a try. Well, that was a bit of a non-event, because as soon as I put it on there we were getting wheel spin. There's not enough grip to go up there. So I'm going to have to put some rubber tyres on it to give it extra grip. For rubber tyres, I've cut some strips from some old rubber gloves. Yeah, in fact they're so old they're not very strong, but they might last just long enough for us to try and get up the slope. So we'll have another go. Well, that wasn't bad. So that's nothing like 1 in 3 at the moment. We didn't do the full distance, but I didn't wind it all the way up. I'll raise the height a bit and see if we can still go up. Well, I'm impressed. We're still not on 1 in 3, but we're still going up at a good angle. I'm going to have to adjust the feet on that so we can go up to the full 1 in 3. Right, I'll go and adjust the angle so we've got the 1 in 3. I can't measure it at the far end because we don't actually go the full 3 meters. So if I measure it on the 2 meter mark, we're about 22 centimeters above the ground at that end. So there we need to be, it would be 100 at that end, 66, 33, so 66 plus 22 is 80, 88. So at that point I should be 88. Obviously my ground's not perfectly level either. In fact that looks like it slopes away a little bit there to me. It's going up the slope, not going all the way, so we've got two choices. We either double up the rubber band. I don't remember what strength rubber band I was allowed to use, but I'm just using a single one of the very thin ones that I've got. So I could double that, or I could increase the diameter of the back axle to give us more power. And I'm going to try increasing the diameter because that's what I'd planned to do. So this is where we're going to try my adapter piece. If I can get it on there. I can't get it on there. On the previous one I could get it on. I need to go and adjust that a little bit so I can... Oh, I know what I can do. Can I pop it off again? Right. Slide that on. Like that. Pop that back on there. So we've now got a thicker back axle to give us greater leverage. Well, I'm going to claim that as a complete success. So what we did there was made the back axle thicker to give us more leverage. And that enabled us to use the skinny rubber band. So it's all to do with gearing. Give it plenty of power, and we just shot up that ramp with no trouble at all. Oh, my little gripper has fallen apart on the back axle there. So I was a little bit mean with the thickness of the plastic. Right, I'll just do that one more time. Oh, I'll move the camera. Right, gonna have to adjust the height of the tripod. Right, we'll have another go. Try again. Yes. I am pleased with that. When I tried to do it, however many years ago it was, it didn't quite manage it. And I think I was using more power. But we're now using high technology, carbon fibre tube, 3D printed parts, and we've got the height. Yeah, pleased with myself. And something else I noticed, this one actually runs on the grass, which you would never expect to happen with a rubber band powered car. They've never got enough power to go over grass. I'll just run it across the grass. Yeah, very impressed with that design. I've got some ideas I want to change on it a little bit, because that axle is bouncing out of the slot that I put it in. So I think a deeper slot with more of a little clamp at the top of it, and we'll be good to go. So the good news was it worked. The bad news is the rules for the original project was it had to be 50 grams. And as you can see, this adds up to 73 grams. So let's try some of the bits individually. That's not zeroed. Come on, go to 0. Right, that's 0. So my carbon fibre rod, 7 grams. Front wheels, 3 grams. So 2 wheels, two wheels and the axle, 10 grams. Rubber tyres, we could trim a little bit off them because they were generous, so they're about 5 grams. But the main, oh no, I was going to say the main weight, but the axle hubs, what we want to call them, about 10 grams, plus the rubber band and the string. But the main weight is actually the CDs. It's about 17 grams there. You can see the weight. How about the other one with the axle on it? 21. Just a thought, how much are those axles? Right, they're 3 grams. They are a little bit long. I could trim them down a little bit and lose a little bit of weight there on both of them, so I could probably save, what was they, 3 grams? Could probably save a gram there. I said we could trim a little bit off them and save maybe a couple of grams there. Can't do much about that carbon rod, although we could shorten it, which is a possibility. We could, it was plenty long enough, we could shorten it a bit, maybe lose another gram. But probably the main thing is the CDs. I could just wait for that noisy motorbike to go by. I could print it, instead of using a ready-made CD, I could print one with holes in it, like that, and that would probably get the weight down. So the CDs on their own are about 17 grams there, 17 or 18 grams. And we'd need to lose about half the weight on both of them to lose the 20 grams we need to lose to get it down to the 50 gram weight. Just for the record, I did print one off. So 17 grams. Obviously we've got the hub there, but on the printed one we don't need the hub. Hang on, do that again, so I'm sure it was 9 when I looked at it just now. 9, yeah. Oh, it's obviously 9.5 or something, somewhere between the two. Alright, 10. So we've saved 7 grams. I was hoping to save a little bit more, but that's alright. That's 7 grams saved. So 14 grams saved on 2 of them. If I cut the ends off these to make them a bit shorter, I think we can probably get it down to the 50.